Welcome to the Brightstar Lifestyle Podcast, where we say yes to joy. Good day, Bright Stars. Today we have Shanie Boshoff with us for this podcast. Shanie is one of the Brightstar facilitators, and to share her life purpose with you is pure joy. Her life purpose is to simplify beyond complexity that which hold us back from joy, contentment, and reaching our potential. Shanie has a very interesting CV, and I'm just going to take some of it and share with you. In 2003, Shanie became the CEO for the RCFFF. It is a national children's and older persons protection organization with nearly 4,000 employees and even more volunteers. She had the opportunity and, as you say, privilege to strategically impact national and provincial platforms to advocate the realities and plight of the NGOs in the social service sector. In 2015, she acquired her PhD in social work at the University of Stellenbosch, and she focused on capacity building and organizational development of especially smaller community-based organizations. Shanie also have a business called Grow Potential, and there she focuses on personal and leadership development through tailor-made workshops and growth sessions. And she addresses the needs and wants of individuals, teams, and organizations. She says that she also loves to facilitate the programs of Brightstar to transform lives, connect better to others, and to impact the world around us. Shanie also collaborates with Compass Academy of Learning as a facilitator and training, and since March 2020, she is proudly the product manager with Brightstar and 5-star facilitator and administrator of Brightstar Lifestyle. Now, what we are going to talk about today is Shanie's experience that we also always in Brightstar say yes to joy. And Shanie is a breast cancer survivor, and that puts a different light on saying yes to joy. Shanie, will you share a bit of this journey with us?
Thank you, Amanda and Brightstar, for the privilege again to be a carrier of hope today. Yes, I was diagnosed in 2008, end of 2008, with breast cancer. And that was an interesting journey that followed. I actually call it my journey of grace, because there were so many moments of grace. You know, when one is put in a place of adversity, it's a place where you do not want to be necessarily. You didn't plan to be there. You didn't expect to be there. And all of us reach these places. And for me, it was breast cancer. For other people, there's a lot of other places of adversity that they can be. But there's a lot of feelings that comes up in that process. There's a lot of obstacles you need to overcome. But the one thing that I learned as a traveler of life and as a social worker is really that you handle situations like this with a skill set that you have at that stage. You don't require a different skill set. So the mindset that you have and those around you and the way in which you have always handled your relationships doesn't change when something like this happens. It can, but in the majority of cases, that's the way in which you look. So the positive side of having the inner knowledge that my joy doesn't lie with my circumstances, but in my Lord. And that gave me the perspective.
Thank you. Your honesty and vulnerability really touches our hearts. something that I did not share was that you are blessed with a caring husband, as you say, and that all it says in your CV that always allowed you to fly with your dreams. And you have a 27-year-old son who is the inspiration of your heart. And you also have two married bonus children with their families to fill your life. Your experience with your cancer journey, do you think that it also had an effect on these loved ones?
I think the loved ones are most of the time the unsung heroes. I think they take a lot of the impact on themselves of someone, a loved one being on a cancer journey, and they have to battle their own fights and be there for you as well. And I think it's easier for the one with a cancer because you are fighting, you are in a fighting mode for survival and to physically and emotionally handle what's happening with you. But for those that are your loved ones and standing around you and supporting you, they have to stand. They have to stand aside. And my husband always said that made him feel helpless and he wanted to take my place and he couldn't. On the other side, I must tell you that my son was at the end of grade 7 when I was diagnosed and he went into high school. And that journey, it was such a growth journey for us as a family as well. Speaking about these things, bringing it in the open. I remember the first lesson that I got from him was just after I was diagnosed. We were driving in the car and I told him, son, I'm going to tackle this thing now. And he said, Mommy, say it by name. You told me that I should give it a name, the place of adversity a name, because then we can set goals and then we can handle that. So you have cancer. So say it aloud, know you have it, and let's tackle it. So that was a great inspiration.
That is wisdom at a very young age. Shanie, when you shared your story, you told me that you with the treatments, you continued working. I was amazed to hear how you did that. Would you share with us and why? Why did you continue working during your treatments?
Yes, I think one always has the choice. Now you can be wise and you can take off the time and spend all your time in recovering, or you can be wise as well and decide on the other hand that you want to keep on working. So I had my chemo on a Wednesday for 12 weeks. And then on the Thursday and Friday, I rested and the weekend. And then I went back to work on the Monday and Tuesday. And then we started the cycle all over again. But that really gave me a perspective that the world isn't all about me. When I got to work, I had the broader perspective. I had a wonderful team and I'm exceptionally grateful for my management as well, because they really allowed me to work in these circumstances. And I think they supported me more than I was aware of, but let me think that I still had a little bit of control, because that's the one thing that you want when you're on a journey like this. You just want to control something. But that was a great privilege to be involved with the outside world and have the perspective that it's not only about me.
Yeah. When listening to your journey, and we want to share hope and inspiration with others, what would you share with someone that's in a journey like that at this moment? Looking at you living a life where we see your passion, we see that you are making a difference. Sometimes people would just say, but you don't understand my life and my story. What would you say to someone in the midst of such a crisis?
I think the one thing that I would say is this is your journey. What kind of adversities, if it's cancer, if it's financial problems, if it's relational problems, whatever it is, this is your journey. And do not compare that to anyone else's, because you need within your context to handle that specific situation. And the thing that I think where something like this, a journey like this, brings you is to be very vulnerable. And we are not used to be vulnerable. And I think that's the side of the journey that is quite different. You are not in control, you're vulnerable. People can see that, they know that, they hear that. So it's a wonderful life lesson to learn. And as you grow through this journey, just to open yourself up a little bit. You don't feel good every day. You don't feel on top of the world every day. But in your vulnerability, you actually mean so much to other people as well. And sometimes the little journey that you are on are actually helping them with their journey. You will never know. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things. And to hold your faith, and to know that it's there's a longer term goal in this, and that joy isn't only a feeling of happiness. Joy is really the inner peace that comes along with that.
Yeah. Something that I'm always curious about, and I'm going to ask you this question as our last question of this discussion, is just how do you, after an experience like that, I see you living with wisdom, and I know it's wisdom that you received through hardships, taking joy from such a very negative experience. I'm always curious, are you living with the attitude now of I must grab every second available? What did it do to your current life situation and living your life purpose and your values and your dreams?
That's such an interesting question, because whilst you're in the journey, you don't really plan that. You are just surviving. You don't emotionally plan that far. And then at the end, you've learned so many valuable lessons. And then you have this long list of new commitments and new perspectives that you're going to have in life. And then you do that. And after a while, to be honest, life happens. And then you very quickly get into the rut again. But hopefully you always take with you a little part of the wisdom, and the belief and the courage that you had at that stage. So it's you don't climb a whole flight of stairs and get at the top. Then life happens, and on the next step things happen again, and you can use this little bit of wisdom. But in my case, I didn't have a 360 turnaround situation. Everything went well afterwards, although the fear of not knowing, and that death can actually be a situation for now, I think that does change someone. I think you do look at life a little bit differently.
Thank you, Shanie. If you would, I definitely feel we will have another discussion, because there is so much wisdom to share from your experience. Thank you very much for inspiring us, and always walking with this banner of hope that inspires other people. May your day be bright.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today. You can visit us at www.brightstarlifestyle.co.za. Until we see you next time, keep on shining.